Good morning and blessings from and for the Brother Main. I want to start this morning by saying that I love you. Whoever you are out there, you might just need to hear that. You might need to take that into your spirit for whatever it's worth. You might be going through hardships and trials and tribulations and things like that. We all do. But knowing that just one more person out there is in my corner, has genuine unconditional love for me, without having to know me even personally, just emitting that vibration with the utmost positivity in mind is not only refreshing, especially in today's circumstance, but also a necessity in terms of purporting humanity. That's something that's very big on my soul, on my heart, and on my conscience to do at any and all instances that I can. I am Theta. My real name is Nicholas A.A. Grant, and this is the first episode of the podcast. And I just want to explain that on this podcast, we're going to be talking about those concepts, as well as some esoteric concepts as well, some higher conscious thinking, some ascension principles, some principles for facilitating humanity, and other things like that, and just, fun topics as well as they arise. We'll lightly get into current events, although I like to stay away from that as much as possible. We won't get into too many opinionated things, because I'm not someone who has to voice my opinion at all times. I choose when, it's most pivotal to do so. But we will get into those things because I know there is an appeal to do those things and have those conversations, and there is a necessity in many instances to have those full conversations. So I will be bringing those topics up today. I'll keep it light. I will begin by saying who I am and what I do and why this podcast is important. Again, my name is Theta. That's what I go by. My real name is Nicholas A.A. Grant, and I'm a writer. I'm an aspiring writer and screenwriter, so you can find my full contact information if you'll go to my YouTube channel, Brother Main 777, and I'll highlight that at the end of this podcast too, especially. It's called Brother Main 777, and I have a little introductory video that talks about my projects, and like that, I will take some time to talk about them here because for time's sake, I do have that time, and I want you to know who it is exactly who I am. So my first project that I'll talk about is still in the works, although I was able to find a good stopping point. It was my screenwriting project, so with that I was able to find a good stopping point, having completed 4 hour-long episodes, of course beginning with the pilot episode, and completing a one-sheet and a TV pitch with a treatment included for that. And again, that's going to be discussed on my YouTube channel in that introductory video. But I will, at the end of this podcast, go into where you can find me on social media and as well as some other platforms I have for viewing those submissions and things like that. So Brother Main, it will be, when it's fully completed, it will be a fictional yet profoundly autobiographical TV series. I chose that form of media, TV series, centered around a Christ-like figure named Elijah Carpenter, who goes from homeless veteran to leader and founder of the secret society and fraternal organization known as the Brotherhood of Maine, which will be responsible for facilitating and ushering the second coming of Christ and bringing simultaneously the most souls to Christ since his first coming to a visit to our world, and also leading, the forces on the side of good during the final battle between good and evil in the apocalypse. So it's a pretty interesting concept. You have a dual Christ figures where you have one who's the actual Christ set in a setting that's not typical, hasn't really been done before, which is the Revelation era. If you're familiar with biblical text, the Revelation era, the apocalyptic era, of mankind, and focusing primarily on the Christ-like figure Elijah Carpenter, being that he's compared throughout the series and contrasted to the original Christ. He is born of a miracle birth. He does engage with women, the opposite sex in a sexual manner, whereas Christ didn't. He's able to perform miracles just like Christ and things like that. But he's very similar, but he's very different. So that's the interesting driving point. And also, he's more mathematical and science minded. So he's able to bridge the gap between mathematics and science and Christianity. So it's a very interesting series that I hope can be brought to fruition, as well as my writing project that I'm currently working on, which will be titled The Method for Correctly Conducting the Conscious, which piggybacks off of René Descartes. René Descartes was one of the most famous mathematicians and philosophers of our time. And he wrote several works that got into philosophy, even the philosophy of philosophy, which he called first philosophy, his meditations, but also the main primary work, which is his discourse on the method for correctly conducting the reason, where he gets into some matters of apologetics, but also he establishes or asserts an accurate method for correctly determining things without doubt in the fields of philosophy, mathematics, and science, which, of course, you're probably more familiar with his Cartesian coordinate system, which we've adopted all across the world. You can't really graduate algebra or geometry in anywhere in the world right now, in Thailand, in Uganda. If you take algebra or geometry, you must learn about his Cartesian coordinate system, which is the appropriate system we've adopted for graphing geometric figures in at least 2 dimensions. Now, Einstein, he piggybacked off that with his 3-dimensional coordinate system with relativity in time space. But the original one was just 2 dimensions. At that time, he's a 16th century philosopher. Excuse me, a 17th century philosopher and mathematician. So he was able to determine and create what's now known as his Cartesian coordinate system, which comes off of his last name, René Descartes. And that's what we use to, again, graph geometric figures in at least 2 dimensions. That's the XY coordinate planes. So it's very profound when we talk about apologetics and Christian apologetics, which I am a Christian. I'll go ahead and say that at this. Maybe I should have said that before. So if that bothers you, you don't have to listen. You know what I mean? You can choose not to listen. But if you are Christian out there, I do say welcome to my fellow brother or sister, whoever you are. I do love you yes again, not just because I have unconditional love for all of mankind, but then especially being a fellow brother or sister in Christ is a very special thing. So I am a Christian, an avid Christian. And with this work, it's going to be not only, something that's on my mind and my conscience to complete in terms of, my, endeavor to express, how I, look up to René Descartes and how he was able to fuse philosophy, mathematics, and also bringing Christian apologetics. But it's interesting because he was such an avid Christian, as well as it gives me an opportunity to honor my mother's legacy as she studied at seminary school as well, and her biography will be placed towards the end of that work. So it's a way for me to honor her legacy. She is deceased, so rest in peace. We lost her last year in July, and she is now with the Lord in paradise. So that's a blessing to me to know that. And that's what's assured to you as a Christian, to know that your loved ones are with God, living everlasting life. And so I also do a few more things. Of course, I do this podcast in addition to those those projects. Those are my main projects that I work on and things like that. I do also do some editing for other people and some, just freelance writing projects and, getting it by any means. But I also have a Sudoku channel. So if you nip over to my Brother Main 777, it will actually be Brother Main Sudoku, which is going to be going up too as well. The original channel, Brother Main 777 is already up, but the Sudoku channel, I'm still working on filming all the videos for that. And then once I have enough filmed and edited, and I have a great editor, her name is Kua, so I shout out to her. She's in the Philippines. I met her through my brother, Tola. And she actually does editing for him because he does videography and photography as well. But yeah, she's just started doing videography for me, and she does a wonderful job. So you'll see that on the video if you head over to my channel, what she's able to do and stuff with my videos. So yes, I do play Sudoku and things like that. And that's just a background on who I am. I am an Atlanta person. I'm an Atlanta individual. That's where I reside. That's my hometown. I'm Jamaican by ethnicity, but I reside in Atlanta, and I love Atlanta forever. I love Atlanta, man. Fila. So any of my Atlanta people who are listening right now, you are special to me. You know about Atlanta if you know about Atlanta. If you've ever visited, if you've ever been here, it's the dirty. You got a lot of Grady babies. Grady Memorial Hospital is the famous hospital that, most people are born from here. And I'm not, again, a Grady baby, but I respect for them. It's a custom thing. It's a culture thing. So yeah, you know about Atlanta if you've ever been here. Great food. It's a southern state, Georgia. Great food. We actually have a lot more food now in 2023, and I'm a big food person too. I'll go ahead and explain that. Big food person too. I get into some culinary arts where I do cooking on my own. I'm not the best chef. I'm not Gordon Ramsay. I'm not Guy Fieri, but I do cooking, and I'm able to hold my own in the kitchen. But I do a lot of experimenting with new foods, and I love to try new foods as well. And things like that. I follow some people on Facebook who have recurring, reels and things like that, and updates concerning food. I love food. It's something that, sometimes we take for granted when we are able to, because I'll explain. My mother we lost her to cancer in July, and it ties right in because she originally had breast cancer that elevated to bowel cancer. Her bowels shut down on her. She was unable to take in nutrition it got to that point, and she wasn't able to eat. But I still, of course, was able to eat, when we were in the same household before she died. And it was hard for me to eat and watch her not be able to. I still did, because it also works in that regard, the adverse regard too. It makes you appreciate that you can digest and take in nutrition normally and have bowel movements and things like that. And when somebody can't, so you both have this conflicting ideal going on, where you don't really want to eat because it's your mother and she can't eat, but you also do want to eat just because, I appreciate that I can. And you only know if you ever had someone out there. If you do, I want to take this time to say, I'm sorry for what you're maybe currently going through with that loved one, or that best friend, or whoever that is, or if you have someone who's deceased from that. It's a harsh thing, and people don't really know about it until they've lost that person, or they're witnessing this person on their medical decline. And so I just want to say, you've got one more person out there again who understands definitely what you're going through, and we'll talk more about that over the course of this podcast. But not to get too morose, another thing I do is I make music. So I'm very artsy, if you can't tell. There's the writing, which is my primary right now, although for the longest time my primary was music. Of course, I do the culinary thing as well. Sometimes I dabble in that. I wouldn't call myself a professional culinary artist. I just dabble every now and then. So I've got that as well. Again, so the writing, that I do this podcast, which is audio as well. But I do a lot of music. I play instruments. Main one was the double bass of orchestra. So I did orchestra all throughout school. Took it from elementary school to high school. And then that's when I got into, classical guitar, and I also dabbled in cello a little bit because it's not too hard to go from bass to cello. And then of course electric bass and electric guitar that follows all in that same family of chord patterns and chord progressions and finger movement and stuff like that. So those are the main instruments that I got into as well. But yeah, I definitely also know how to work in digital audio workstations, use MIDI controllers, synthesizers. I'm not one of these guys who have gone to school for it. I'm mostly self-taught, but you can do a lot when you're self-taught as well, and you can just pay attention to music and show a genuine love for it. So that being said, those are the things I will do, and I will also give links to my music when that's up right now. I don't have anything that I've worked with right now, but I do get in the studio from time to time with my best friend John, so shout out to him. If he's listening as well, he does a great job with production and things like that. We go back to high school, which for us was not too long ago, but around 2010. And we've just maintained friendship. He's like a brother to me. Up until the current day, we lost touch for a little while, but we regained our friendship recently and stuff. So I've been able to. It's been a privilege for me to get back in the studio with him and share that time and share our talents as well. The last thing I'm going to say is I'm someone what you'll find is that I'm full of light and positivity. And that's what I want to emit and share with you as the audience and things like that. And that the negativity and the hate, I don't do negativity. I don't do hate at all. I don't even reciprocate it when I receive it. Which some people will talk about that as well. There's a lot of interesting topics that we're going to get into. And that's the whole topic for a whole podcast. And that's another thing. Podcasts for me will be typically 25 minutes to a half hour. We'll keep them relatively short where we get into the information. But that will be one of the topics we talk about, reciprocating negative energy. As someone who doesn't practice certain things, one of those things being negative energy, negative endeavors. Should you, will be the question, because we get into postulations, conjectures. I'm big on mathematics and stuff like that. Should you will be the assertion or the question, the essential question. Should you reciprocate negative energy? Should you reciprocate negative endeavors that are done to you? Should you reciprocate them when someone is attempting to harm you in a negative way, get their negativity on you for whatever reason? Should you reciprocate that? And for so many reasons, we're not going to get into it too much right now on this first podcast, but one of the main reasons is that there's this cliche, fight fire with fire. And we've accepted it for such a long time. You fight fire with fire. And what I've recently realized is more than likely people weren't talking about an actual flame, fire, fuego. You know what I mean? People were probably talking about like firepower, like guns or things like that, because somebody's shooting at you and you return fire for fire, right? And that's how wars are fought and things like that. But the questions would still remain, I think. Do you want to engage in war at all? If you're not someone who does that, do you want to then fight fire with fire? So we won't get into it this time, but if you'll just take some time between now and when we do get to that podcast to think about that concept, really think about that concept in your daily perusals, in your daily because we all think about what we should be doing at one time or what time. We all want to express our viewpoints and express our perspectives, how we see things. Should I engage in negative endeavors when they are done towards me? It's an essential question, and I hope you'll take some time to do that. We are in the last 5 minutes here. I just want to go ahead and allude to, again, my brother, my YouTube channel, main YouTube channel, which is Brother Main 777. The introductory video will explain who I am. Again, it's the only one up right now, but it'll also give my contact information. I want to definitely highlight, emphasize, you guys are welcome to contact me anytime. My email will be up there. I'll go ahead and say it now. It's NGRANT, so it's ngrant, the number is 5460@gmail.com. So that's ngrant5460@gmail.com. I also do give out my phone number, especially to my viewers. Some people would advise against it, but I'm an open-hearted person. I am a tried and true brother man, so that's what I do. And the concept of the brotherhood of man and brother man will be a concept we discuss in a whole other podcast. So if that's sounding a little fresh to you, new, don't be discouraged. That will be discussed as well. So, but my phone number is 470-861-9732. I use that for both personal and business. So you never know who you meet. You got producers, industry professionals, people want to pick up your book, agents and all that stuff. If they're listening, if you're listening right now, I do appreciate what you guys do for me as other people all around the world. But if you're interested in those projects that I'm working on right now, please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. I'm avidly on my end shooting people emails and giving them calls in the industry to see who, because all it takes is one person, the right person to show an interest in your book, in your music, in your screenplay, however you do it. It just takes the one right person. Sometimes it's multiple people, teams of people, but all it takes really is one with, and those things. And the next thing I would say on that, and if somebody's interested or wants to donate or make a contribution, I do use crowdfunding. So that's going to be on the platforms GoFundMe and Indiegogo. And that is also Brother Main 777. You'll find that. The introductory video has them at the end, but I also use something called Coverfly and Free Film Way. That's Coverfly and Free Film Way. And then also those have my one sheet, my TV pitch, and with the treatment included, and the pilot episode with 3 follow-up episodes at all hour length for people to just read for fun. If you just want to go over there, you're someone like that who wants to read it for fun, please feel free to do that. I always welcome feedback. You can send me emails, feedback. Hey, I loved it. Hey, I hated it. I don't care. I'm not going to, return the negativity if it's negativity, but if it's something I can appreciate, even constructive criticism, I will listen to those things. So again, that's Coverfly and Free Film Way. Not too many people, I don't think, who aren't in the industry or who haven't really read scripts or anything like that would be familiar with it, but it's a great platform. It's just if you want to go on there and read again, just what different projects. You never know what the next Matrix is, or the next what's it called, Die Hard, or you never know. And you could be someone who's reading that for whatever it's worth, and you're like, wow, this is really something here. That's just for recreation, for fun. Or if you're an industry professional, it's great. You probably are already familiar with that. It's a great platform. I'll just go highlight it again. So that's going to be GoFundMe and Indiegogo, Brother Main 777, the YouTube channel, Brother Main 777. You can find me on Facebook at Nicholas A.A. Grant Theta. And then the Coverfly and Free Film Way. Also Brother Main 777. But yeah, that'll be for that. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up right now. Last thing I'll say is glory to God, more positivity. I always give glory to my God. Right now it is the third Friday. It should be Good Friday. We just had Ash Wednesday, Good Friday. So it is a glorious good day. A day for positivity, a day for revelation and congregation all across the world. That's a great thing about this platform. Anyone, anywhere could be listening. And so I just want to go ahead and say that to you. Thank you for listening to me. Again, I'm Theta, and you have a wonderful, blessed day.